So I've been using the COROS APEX now for around 2 months. COROS sent one out to me, really impressive from the get-go, the fit, the feel, the lightness, the weight of this watch is something you'll definitely notice from the get-go, and obviously all the specs that are packed into it is something that I want to talk to you guys about a little today. People ask me a lot about watches. What should I go for? What should I choose? And one of the main things I've always got back to people about is just obviously make sure it's got the battery life for what you need it for. Battery life is certainly an important factor when it comes to your watch, especially if you are into ultra racing or if you're just training very regularly throughout the week. If you're doing a lot of training volume, maybe you're doing several different activities, maybe you're not just solely running, maybe you're cycling, you're swimming. As soon as you start adding in all those lower volumes or you're tracking all your workouts, battery life becomes a bit of an issue. And if you're really good and regular about charging your watch and not forgetting to do that, then it's not a problem. But for someone like myself, who's always kind of going from one point to the next, it's quite nice to not have to worry about that all the time. And that's something that the Apex has definitely figured out really well. I couldn't believe it when they said, yeah, you've got 35 hours within the watch. For a watch that's this small and this shallow. When I got it out of the box initially, I didn't charge it. Wanted to see how long it would run for. I think it was on like 75% out of the box, something around that kind of mark. And I didn't need to charge it for almost over a week or so. And for myself at the time, when I was doing almost 20 hours of training within the week, that was really impressive. Definitely think this watch can last a super long time. 100%. I definitely probably only charge it once a week, and that's more of a precautionary measure if I'm going out for a long run and it's down to maybe like 10% or something. At that point I want to make sure obviously it's not going to run out within the run. But the battery life is certainly really impressive and definitely a real big plus about this watch. For the price point, to have the battery life that is that long is pretty spectacular. And we're talking 35 hours on normal tracking, so we're not talking about, you know, every 10 seconds a GPS signal or anything like that. We're talking about second intervals, incredibly accurate tracking data of 35 hours of battery life. It's kind of unprecedented on the market, especially for something as small as this. So then obviously the next important thing that you're looking for in a GPS watch, you need to make sure that the data you're actually collecting is useful there. I remember when everyone first got on Strava, people were using phones, people were using old GPS watches, and you could always see that the data tracking wasn't quite as accurate or as precise as you'd like. You've got a barometer in this watch, you've got the tracking from the GPS, you've got the GLONASS option as well. So the data itself in terms of the GPS, I've had no issues with that whatsoever. Seems to find signal real quick, whether I'm in the jungle, which I'm in Thailand right now, so that's where a lot of my training's been, with a lot of tree cover, or if I'm out on the roads or the other side, you know, in the middle of the mountains somewhere. I've had no issue with GPS tracking, so obviously that's something that's vitally important when you're after a trusty watch. On the back of the watch, you've got the optical heart rate monitor. I've had a lot of problems with optical heart rate monitors, mainly because my wrists are pretty small, as a lot of runners are. The watch strap seems to really help for this watch with that. The watch strap gets real tight, but really comfy at the same time, so it doesn't feel like it's cutting off the circulation. I've had real good accuracy, which has been something that's been great as well. So it's nice not to have to wear the chest strap, but it's nice to have reliable data straight from the wrist. When I first got the watch, I wore it a few days later. I was that confident in that kind of accuracy in the tracking. I wore it a few days later in the Chiang Mai Marathon, and the data from that was perfect. It was real good to be able to see my heart rate data and have that to kind of track back on. That's been a real good feature. Obviously data, battery life, the most important facts that you want to look for in a watch. I could have a watch that was a random color or a random design that didn't particularly look great, but if it did the job, then I'd be happy with it. But this one seems to pack all those into one watch, which is really important. It looks good, but also it does the job that it's meant to do. So then of course we've got our data analysis. Is something that some of you guys might not be too bothered about. You might just want to know the basics there, your distance, your time, your pace. But if you really want to get into the fundamentals or beyond the fundamentals, I guess. If you want to get into the serious analysis of your data, then the COROS app is actually really impressive for that. So just like any of the watches these days, you get a good breakdown as soon as you save your activity once you've finished it on the watch itself. So it'll give you your best pace, your distance, your time, your average heart rate. So all that you get on the watch that you would get on other watches. So that's real great to see that. But you also get, recovery time, which is really quite useful. And I've been really impressed with the stats that they give you with that. It seems to be kind of almost spot on and impressive, and only gets better the more you use the watch. So it adapts to your performances, your reactions, or your training patterns as a general, which is really important because we're all different, and you can't just obviously extrapolate a figure from whatever algorithm and apply it to everyone. So it seems to be getting only more and more accurate the more that I use the watch, which is really, really good and really impressive. So the COROS app, like I said, syncing is insane. It's so quick. So just like you would on any of your other phone apps, you open up the app, you've got your Bluetooth there, connects with the watch. It's almost instantaneous how fast some of those activities log in. Even the longer runs that I've done recently, I've been doing some 4 or 5 hour runs on the mountains, and they seem to kind of sync up within a few moments just as quickly. So that's been kind of blowing me away. And then just at the same time, it goes straight from the app. And then if you were to sync that up with your third-party apps, so for me, Strava is something that I like to get all my data on. As soon as it goes onto that COROS app, it instantaneously seems to be on Strava. I've lost no data, no issues there. It just seems to go straight from one to the other, which is great. In terms of the app itself, though, the features on there are great to be able to just look for your activities, obviously give them the analysis that you want to give them. So you can obviously check your pacings, your intervals, your efforts there. So that's not a problem. Again, your heart rate, something that's super important to look at sometimes, depending on your training cycle. Also, it'll give you a good fitness index. So your overall pattern of training gives you a fitness index at the bottom of the app there. So that's always quite cool to look at, gives you an idea of where you're at, how you're progressing in that regard. If it feels like you're improving over certain times, distances, it takes all that data together and breaks that down there for you. So yeah, that's always nice to look at, especially when it's going in the right direction, which we seem to be doing right now, which is good to see. So if you guys are interested in the watch, if you're looking for a new watch this year, maybe you've got some ultra challenges ahead, you're going to be out there and you need the battery life, or maybe you're just looking to switch things up, you want a lighter model, something that's a bit more useful in an everyday setting, as well as obviously tracking your activities, definitely recommend you check it out. There's a reason why a lot of people are using it, a lot of people are getting behind this brand, and a reason why I'm talking about it today. I wouldn't be talking about a brand or a watch that I wasn't interested in or didn't believe in myself. And these guys are constantly doing updates, always looking to improve the systems, the watch itself, make it as customizable by yourself, which is something I really enjoy from a watch company. So it means you can flick through the screens, do exactly and have the watch exactly how you want it, which is always pretty important because everyone has their own way of doing things. So if you guys are interested, you can always head over to coros.com. They've been kind enough to give us a code that I can give to you guys. That'll give you 10% discount. So that code is HarryJ10. So if you type that in at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount. I think the watch is $350, which is pretty astonishing. The price point for a watch with these capabilities compared to similar watches on the market, this one is amazingly well priced. So that's something that also attracted me in that regard. It's just that it allows more people to enjoy the benefits of having a good GPS watch and the effects and positive effects it can have on your training if you use it the right way. If you're not using their website, you can actually use it on Amazon as well. They do ship worldwide, but Amazon could be the easier option. And again, you can use the same code HarryJ10. You'll get a 10% discount on the watch there. So you just search COROS APEX in the bar on Amazon. But yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this review, guys. If you've been using this watch, then please let me know down below. It'd be really cool to hear from you guys. Or if you've got any more questions, pop them in the comments down below, and yeah, I'll try and get back to as many of you guys as I can with that. But like I said, just check it out, go on the website, read about it. I'm sure there's way more specs than I've been able to cover here. So I really hope you're enjoying this video. If you'd like more reviews, more videos, there's going to be a lot more vlogs on the way as well, a lot more traveling and races coming up this year. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you're not subscribed to the channel already. We're only just getting started at Harry Runs, and there's some really exciting things to come. So thanks for watching, guys, and happy running.